But the big question, recklessly speculating, Larson, where does Gargano go from here? Was there anything about last night that informed your hamster wheel as to, hey, this is probably what he's going to be doing next?
I would not be surprised if he goes home for a little bit. Takes some time off. And then after War Games, I texted you and Enforcer saying, and he mentioned this in this promo, the idea that if you bet on yourself, you don't fail. And he brought up how many times, even in NXT, the first time he tried out for NXT, they told him he would never make it there. I'm not saying I would bet money on it. I would not be surprised if he shows up on Raw or SmackDown at some point in late February or early March, because he's going to bet on himself and think, I'm at least going to try to do this. I'm at least going to try to make it on the main roster before going somewhere else. I would not be shocked at all if it happens. Kyle O'Reilly's gone. He's gone. He
seems to be completely gone. His tweet here 30 minutes ago from when we were filming this, he says, truly overwhelmed by all the love and heartfelt messages. By no means does this mean goodbye. Just smell you later.
Yeah, he's gone.
And he lost in a steel cage match against Von Wagner last night.
Yeah, he's gone. But John, I would not be surprised if he signs and goes to main roster.
I would be surprised. I'll put it this way. I'd be surprised if he knew what he was going to do at this moment. The one thing that he said in his promo last night was, you might see me here or there. I think he kind of said, I got to look at your notes because I don't take notes during 2.0. I just sit there and enjoy it with the Enforcer and the friend.
I tried to write it as much as I could verbatim.
He says, he says he doesn't know what his immediate future holds. That's up in the air. In 2 days, his contract, if all the backstage stuff is to be believed, in 2 days on December 10th, his contract's going to be expired with the WWE. At that point, he'll be able to negotiate with WWE. He'll be able to negotiate with New Japan, AEW, Impact, any number of places. I honestly believe at this point, the man simply doesn't know what he's going to do because he hasn't been able to explore all of his options. It's clear that nothing WWE has offered him at this point has been so enticing that he said, yeah, I want to sign there. I want to re-sign and go to main roster. But that's not to say, like in your scenario, that can't happen still. So
I think the most likely scenario is we probably won't see him for at least a couple months.
I would suggest that's probably true. That's probably true. And at which point, my thing is, there's no options off the table because if somebody hasn't decided anything, I would think, given that WWE hasn't given him anything that's been so enticing that he's like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and sign. That maybe that puts them lower on the totem pole of places where I think he's going to end up. But maybe he'll look at AEW and be like, man, they've got a lot going on right now, and I'm not sure where I fit in. Let me go back to the devil I know.
Well, also, just strictly from a negotiating standpoint, he increases his leverage by going out in the open market.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if he thinks he can garner some more concessions in negotiations from WWE by being a free agent, having conversations with AEW or New Japan, whomever, then that behooves him. It behooves him to do it then.
There's another thing he said that was interesting and remarkably open, transparent, and vulnerable. When he talked about him seeing himself still as a chubby 8-year-old or 10-year-old, and how he still has a confidence issue, or how he's dealt with confidence issues his whole life.
He doubts himself. Yeah,
he doubts himself constantly. I don't know. Vince McMahon is the kind of guy who would appreciate that in a person. You go to Vince McMahon and he hears that. I get the feeling that Logan Roy would see that admission as a weakness. Just knowing everything I do about Vince McMahon, I don't know that main roster is the place where that would be something. I get the feeling that's more of an AEW atmosphere for like that kind of person. But I don't know. Did you take anything away from that? You know?
I thought, I just found, I thought he was just being very candid with the crowd there, and that I think that aspect was all part of his journey to where he ended up being.
Yeah.
Because it culminated. He said that he's like, this ring right here is the one place I feel important. I feel special.
Yeah.
Like that's his solace.
Yeah.
Is in the wrestling ring, in seemingly in this instance, specifically in front of an NXT crowd. And whatever doubts or confidence issues he may have outside of the ring, seemingly when he's in the ring, that's not an issue.
I think about things that Mox, just a couple passages that I noticed in Mox's thing about Vince playing games with people and thinking he knows you better than you know yourself. I don't know. I just, all the stuff that Vince will do to people, if he gets tired of you, he gives you the John Morrison thing where, oh, he's backstage just doing a bunch of stupid bullshit that nobody cares about. I'm looking for my chi or whatever it was. I think about that stuff and I'm like, I just don't know if that, if wanting to get involved with that kind of thing, it's one thing about, dude, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm betting on myself. I want to give main roster a shot because everybody has doubted me and I proved them wrong. But when the thing that you're trying to prove wrong is a crazy 75-year-old man who has the weirdest whims and personality quirks, it's just, that always seems to me to be like, I don't know, an exercise in futility, I don't know. It was just something he said that it made me, I was like, man, is that personality? Is that kind of personality, the kind of personality that would mesh well on main roster when Vince McMahon is the guy there, and he's, likely to just try to throw off your confidence as much. I mean, he's literally doing that kind of thing with Austin Theory in character right now on Raw. So I don't know, man. I don't know that environment is the kind of thing that's great for somebody's mental health, but I'm not there. I don't know. Well, it's not for me to say, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know Johnny Gargano. All we can do is speculate. And I guess we'll just have to wait and find out,
Yep. But I don't know. I expect him to go to AEW.